Hey, and welcome back to Let's Talk Social, the podcast where we unpack the good, the bad, and the algorithmic in the world of social media. I'm Rich Hake, and today we're stepping into the shadows of the influencer industry. We all love a good success story, creators who build genuine communities, they land big brand deals, and turn their passion into profits. But behind the glitz and the glamour of sponsored posts and viral fame, sometimes there's a darker reality: fake engagement, deceptive sponsorships, and just pure full blown scams. So grab your overpriced latte because today we are talking about the dark side of influencing. Let's start with one of the biggest secrets, or maybe not to most, of the influencer industry. Not everything is as real as it seems. You've probably come across accounts with hundreds of thousands, even millions of followers, yet their engagement kind of seems off. Comments that are just emojis, a ton of likes, but almost no real conversation happening in the comment section. That's because fake engagement is a massive business. Bots and engagement pods are used by influencers to artificially inflate their numbers, making them look more popular than they really are. And really, it's like renting a crowd to make it seem like you're throwing the hottest party in town, but no one's actually dancing. No one was even invited except by the people that are hosting the party to the fake people that are attending. So, why does this happen? Well, brands often use their follower counts and their engagement rates to decide who to work with. And if an influencer can make their stats look good on paper, they can land high paying brand deals, even if their audience isn't necessarily real. And this leads to brands wasting thousands, sometimes millions on campaigns that don't even actually reach real people. And if you want to get deeper into that part of this, go listen to my podcast on the internet theory, the death of the internet. Interesting pod there. This kind of goes into that, but we won't go all the way in. And it's not necessarily just small influencers that are doing this. Some of the biggest names in the industry have been caught inflating their numbers. And in 2019, there was actually a study that found up to 50% of Instagram influencers were engaging in some sort of fraudulent activity, which is literally half of all of them. So imagine half of Hollywood's A-list actors were secretly holograms or some sort of AI bot. It would be pretty crazy, right? So I just don't like that. And it's pretty nuts that most of these influencers are paying either for fake engagement, fake followers, or both. And they're landing brand deals. And then the small portion of people that actually follow them are also being tricked by it. So the companies that are partnering with them get tricked, and then the people that are following also get tricked. And regarding the actual true sinister side of everything, which is the influencer scams, these come in many forms, but two of the biggest culprits are scam brands and scamming influencers. So, on one hand, you have sketchy brands reaching out to influencers, offering them free products or sponsorships that never actually materialize. It's the classic just pay shipping and we'll send you free merch. It's the scam that's a favorite among fake brands. So, what actually happens there is the influencer pays for shipping, gets a low quality product if they get anything at all, and then the brand just disappears. So, they get the shipping fee, and they do this on a scale of tens of thousands of people and then never ship out a product. So they're just collecting this, $12.99 shipping fee. Multiply that by 30,000. They're making a decent chunk of money there. And then on the other hand, influencers selves can also be the scammers. So remember the Honey scam? Talked about this last episode. Honey, the coupon browsing extension, was found to be stealing affiliate commissions from influencers while sponsoring their content. So they'd pay influencers to promote them up front, but then they'd hijack the referral by switching around the link, and the earnings would go back to Honey instead of to the influencer behind the scenes. So it's like getting paid to sell lemonade on a hot day, only to find out someone else has been pocketing all the money. And, that's PayPal, who owned Honey at the time, that did all of this. So looking at you there. There's also a rise of fake giveaways where influencers promise expensive prizes like MacBooks or iPhones in exchange for follows and engagement. Share this to my story, all that kind of stuff, only for the prizes to mysteriously never get delivered, or they go to somebody, but it's like 3 degrees away from them, or it's like their friend's aunt or something like that. And these scams not only hurt the followers, but they just erode trust entirely in quote unquote legitimate giveaways. And honestly, behind everything else, you've got the financial scams. Some influencers have faced serious consequences for their online fame. And if we wanted to talk about a few horror stories, one of which was the luxury influencer who was actually broke. There was an influencer who built an entire brand around luxury travel, high-end shopping, only for it to be revealed that they were renting designer bags and booking flights just long enough to take photos before canceling them for a refund. So their glamorous life was carefully constructed illusion that didn't exist at all. But everyone followed them. They probably sold a course or something, if I had to guess, how to live like me, and pay $100 or something. And they were just totally scamming people. Another like horror story that happened was a sponsored post that backfired. So a fitness influencer promoted a weight loss tea that supposedly had miracle results, but the problem was they forgot to read the script and accidentally uploaded the brand's pre-written caption saying, "Here's the copy you can use." And it was proof they had never actually used the product. It was all just for the paycheck. So that's how lazy and irresponsible some people are with this stuff. But it's good for us because we get to figure out that this person is a fraud and that we don't want to follow them anymore. And then lastly, for another horror story, and this happens all the time, influencers that scam their own followers. So they have a legitimate following, but they just scam them. So some influencers have taken things another step further from just, fake endorsing products. They will actually promise exclusive mentorships in exchange for, $1,000 or whatever it is. And then they just ghost the client after they cash in on the money. And it turns out the skill wasn't social media or business building or whatever it was. The skill that they have is manipulation. They were just totally ripping people off. It really bugs me, this whole topic, honestly. It just gives social media a bad name. It gives legitimate influencers a bad name, and it puts social media as a bad taste in businesses' mouths. So I guess ultimately, how do we navigate further into this influencer space without falling for the fake hype? Whether you're an aspiring creator or a consumer of content, business owner, whatever it is, here's some key takeaways that I kind of landed on. I'll do all four and then I'll dive into each one. The first one's do your research. Second is look for real engagement. You just have to do some legwork and go figure that out. The third is brands should vet their influencers. So again, kind of not just like looking for real engagement, but you should actually be requiring them to send you numbers, past deals, past sponsorships, like case studies essentially of success stories they've had. And then the fourth being influencers should build trust, not just numbers. So if you have 1,000 people that are highly likely to buy from you versus 10,000 people 10,000 followers and only 10 are willing to buy from you, the 1,000 is actually going to be more worth it. So that's where these numbers come in. And circling back to doing your research, before you buy an influencer's recommendations as a consumer, check to see if they have a history of any like promotions that didn't do well. You can go on Reddit, Trustpilot. There's all these websites that like out these people essentially if they get caught doing this stuff. Or you can just go scrub old posts and see if there's comments related to this. And then, yeah, just check to see if they have real conversations in the comments, see if anything looks like fake or too polished. Um, and then if you're a business, be looking at those numbers, like I said, be checking the stats that come in from the person, ask them for case studies on past brand deals they've done. You see if you can even get how many sales came out of it to report on all of that. They should be proud of it if it did well. Otherwise, they're going to be hiding stuff or just say they don't have the numbers. And if you're an actual influencer, you need to make sure that, again, like the 1,000 versus 10,000 followers, be legit and just have good ethics and be transparent with your followers. That's going to lead to you getting better brand deals because those numbers that the business requests for you to report to them are going to be so much stronger, even if you have a smaller following. So if they're putting two people side by side, you're going to win that brand deal just because you have a higher conversion rate or whatever it is. So make sure that you're being transparent, ethical, and that you are building a genuine following. This sounds like such obvious stuff, but people are so quick to chase after greed and money that it has just squandered the whole concept entirely. So at the end of the day, social media is a powerful tool. You can build communities, you can share knowledge, obviously you can sell stuff, creates a lot of great opportunities for people, but just like any industry, there's bad actors inside of it and they can put a bad taste in other people's mouths and ultimately ruin the experience for people and just get them entirely off the platform. And we need more people that are ethical and transparent with all of this stuff. So, if I think most people that are listening to this are going to be marketers or business owners, so it's going to be more reliant on checking numbers and like it's okay to ask for that stuff. You can ask for past brand partnerships and what the sales numbers were, the engagement numbers, like all that stuff. They should already have decks ready to go to send to you if they're taking this seriously and not just trying to rip you off. So the more we call out fake engagement, influencer scams, dishonest practices, the better that we can just make this space for everyone. And that's genuinely what I want. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get too worked up about this. So that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this deep dive or semi deep dive into the dark side of influencing, don't forget to subscribe, leave me a review, go share this episode with a friend or a business owner who might need to hear it especially if they're already diving into influencer marketing. You might have heard my 2025 influencers or micro influencers episode. If you haven't, go listen to that. Hopefully this is a good second step to that episode if you're a business owner or marketer. And as always, just Keep us up in your feeds. Keep liking our content. We'd love if you share it with friends. And I guess in this case, keep your skepticism high. We'll see you next time.